It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, Braves Country! Braves Country HD is bringing you Braves Country Baseball. Braves Country comes to you every Tuesday night and Friday night, and 2 bonus games every week. Hi, I'm Mac Magee, and we'll be bringing you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. It's free to listen. Please like and subscribe. YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country Baseball, for the fans, by the fans.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Braves Country today. We're talking Southern sports. We go live 3 to 5.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The college football slate gets rolling at noon Eastern. We'll hit the big ones to start it off. Southern Cal is at Colorado. The Trojans, 21.5-point favorite, over under 73.5. That game can be seen on Fox. While number 6, Penn State, is at Northwestern on the Big Ten Network. Nittany Lions, a 26.5-point favorite. And at 12 Eastern on ESPN, one of your better matchups of the day. Number 22, Florida Gators, are 1-point underdog at the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky is undefeated. Game is in Lexington. 3:30 Eastern, the Georgia Bulldogs hunker down onto the plains of Auburn, one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football. Number 1, Georgia, is a 14-point favorite. The over-under, 45.5. 3:30 Eastern, number 2, Michigan, is at Nebraska. Wolverines, 17-point favorites, over-under 39. Kansas, 24 in the land, at number 3, Texas. That game is 3:30 on ABC. Longhorns, 16.5-point favorites, over-under is 61. Number 23, Missouri, is at Vanderbilt. SEC Network, 4 Eastern. Missouri, minus 13.5. The over-under, 54.5. And at 6 Eastern on ESPN, the LSU Tigers are 2.5-point favorites at Ole Miss. The over-under is 67. 7:30 on ABC, you get number 11 Notre Dame at Duke. And over on the SEC Network, the South Carolina Gamecocks are 12-point dogs in Knoxville to the University of Tennessee. The Alabama Crimson Tide, number 12 in the country, 14.5-point favorites at Mississippi State. The Cowbells will be a-ringing. The over-under is 46.5. Undefeated number 7 Washington is a 19-point favorite at Arizona. 65.5 is the number. And number 25, undefeated Fresno State hosts Nevada, who is winless. The Bulldogs are a 24.5-point favorite. Other games going on in the Southeastern Conference today. 12 Eastern on the SEC Network. A&M is at Arkansas. The Aggies, a 6-point favorite over under 53.5. In the ACC, 2-2 Clemson is at undefeated Syracuse. The Tigers, 6.5-point favorites over under 53. That is noon on ABC. The CW Network at 2 o'clock is covering Boston College hosting Virginia. The Golden Eagles, 3.5-point favorite over under 53.5. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are 22-point favorites at home against Bowling Green. Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech is a 3:30 kickoff on ACC Net. And on the ACC Network at 8 Eastern, it's Pittsburgh at Virginia Tech. The Panthers, a 2.5-point favorite over under 39.5. 3-1 Iowa is at home against Michigan State. That's on Peacock. The Hawkeyes, 12.5-point favorite as they try to rebound from the blowout over under 36.5. That's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Almond Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pump. Really, this is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Doug, I got the whole thing fixed, man. We are in it. We are in it now. We got the autumn wind as a pirate to get us started in the mornings. Let's go. How are you, sir? You're muted, Doug. I'm
doing fantastic.
That is not Doug's fault. That is my fault because I do that when I bring y'all from the bullpen because I never know if you know you're on, and I don't want a bunch of coughing and hacking or anything else being said in the background. So, how are you, sir?
Doing good. The only thing I'm hacking up is 19 runs scored last night.
Yeah, so you're still in it. I think Miami's magic number is 1, right?
Yeah, they got 3 games left. It may come down to their makeup game with the Mets on Monday.
The one thing that I hadn't been looking at because I'd looked at all the other tiebreakers, do the Reds have the tiebreaker on the Marlins?
No, that's the Marlins are in the driver's seat. Yeah, the Marlins have the tiebreaker against the Reds.
So
but the Reds have tiebreakers against. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say they have tiebreakers against everybody else, against the Cubs,
the
and
Cubs.
the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, so that means that the magic number for the Marlins to clinch would be 1.
Yeah.
So that's all they need is 1 win next 2 nights between the Pittsburgh Pirates. And man, the Pirates really spit the bit last night. They had a 3-0 lead.
I know.
Going into the 8th inning, we were keeping an eye on it while we were doing Braves Country Radio because I'm pulling for the Reds or the Cubs or anybody to get in. Realistically, it's not even. I don't even care if the Marlins get in per se. If they could face Philadelphia, because that would be kind of a fun division rivalry. I don't care about having the damn Diamondbacks in because there's just there's no sizzle to the Diamondbacks this year.
No, and they could lose too. I mean, they've got 2 tough matchups against Houston, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed because if they drop 2 and we have to win. So if we win our final 2 here today and tomorrow, we've got the tiebreaker against them. So there is a possibility we could have the Marlins and the Reds make the playoffs.
Well, if that goes that way, all right. So the problem with that whole theory is I don't think the Astros are near the team that they have been. I mean, they are stumbling in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the Astros do, what you need is Seattle to keep winning too, because you need that pressure on the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, man, they took it to the Rangers last night, and what was once now it's a here come the Mariners. Now, if they win the next 2, they have the tiebreaker on Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely pulling for Seattle to get in. I'm not a big fan of Texas, mainly because they have too many New York Mets on their roster, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not pulling for Houston just because I want fresh blood in there, And I really do think they've become a little stale. I still think the team to beat over if you're handicapping it right now, because you won't be on the Monday show. If you're handicapping it right now, who is your American League? Who is your National League showdown in the World Series?
Ooh. Well, I've got your Braves going all the way. That's a given.
I know it's not a given. It's a nice thought, but it's not a given.
I know, but in my eyes, it is. I mean, I think they're just too good of a baseball team. And I don't think the same thing that happened last year is going to happen again this year. I think you guys are one of the better teams I've seen in recent years. So that's why I say that. It's weird the way the momentum is going into the playoffs as far as the American League goes. Everybody's they have kind of quietly done it, but I still say you got to watch out for the Toronto Blue Jays at this point.
Really?
I think the Toronto Blue Jays could potentially be the spoiler in the American League like the Phillies were last year in the National League.
See, I am more on the Tampa Bay Rays, which is who Toronto would most likely face in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Tampa Bay is the best team top to bottom in the American League this year. I know Baltimore ran them down. Baltimore won the division. I get all that. But there's a difference between being set to win the regular season and set to win the postseason. And Baltimore doesn't have the starting pitching, in my opinion. You just
right.
To be able to go. It's not that just that one win, that 2 win. It's to be able to go through 3 rounds because Baltimore will have the bye. So that's the good thing going in Baltimore's direction. But to be able to go 3 rounds of baseball, they're going to have to win the NLDS, most likely face Tampa Bay. They're going to have to win the ALCS, which means Baltimore is going to face. Honestly, I think the ALDS, much like the NLDS, could be who really gets to the World Series. Because if you have the Braves and Phillies meet up in the World Series, in the NLDS, and you have the Rays and the Orioles meet up in the ALDS, that could very well determine who is actually going to the World Series. Because unless there's just some switch that Houston's going to turn on, they've been very up and down. They've lost they've lost 6 of their last 10. Though they've won 2 in a row, they still lost 6 of the last 10. That's not how you want to be playing, especially when you don't have anything locked up and you're playing for something. That's not how you want to be playing stumbling into the playoffs.
That's true. No, that's very true.
So real quick, I'm going to try to blow this up so people can see it much better. Now that I have it, here we go. All right. So right now, let me get to the actual wild card because that's really what everybody cares about. And I'll explain the National League side of it. That might be a little too big. I'll explain the National League side of it. The division side of it here in a second. Right now in the American League, Toronto has a 1 game. Tampa Bay's in. Toronto is 1 up on Houston. Seattle is 1 back of Houston. There's 2 games to play. There's all kinds of tie-breaking scenarios. We won't get into that right now, but that's what you got in the American League. The National League, Arizona is a half game in front of Miami, but here's the caveat. If they don't have to replay that game on Monday, Miami is going to take a loss in that game. I know they're technically leading in this game right now, but the Mets had the lead going into that inning. So they would put it in the books as Miami takes the loss. And Miami would probably take that loss because I honestly think Miami wants to be the 6th seed, not the freaking 5 seed, because if the 5 seed, you're going to Philly. If you're the 6th seed, you're going to Milwaukee. And Miami's got a much better chance of beating Milwaukee. Not saying they can't beat Philly, but they've got a much better chance.
Well, in that case, it would have to come down to what the Diamondbacks are going to do against the which Astro. If the Astros are going to beat the Diamondbacks, or the Diamondbacks are going to. It depends on those winners how that's going to work.
And honestly, that's where I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place because I don't want the Diamondbacks or the Astros in the playoffs.
Right.
Well, one of them's getting in, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's an inevitability. So pick your poison on that one.
Yeah, there's not much of a chance that neither one is getting in. So, with all that being said, when I see you next week on Tuesday, are the Reds in it?
I'm going to stick with the team and say and I say this because the Cardinals quit. They're not even playing baseball. What I watched last night, so I think the Reds are going to win their final 2 games. I think Miami's going to drop 1, if not drop 2, and I think the Reds just backslide in right over the Marlins.
Well, if Miami drops just 1, you said Miami has a tiebreaker on you, right?
I said that they drop 2. It'll depend on today. If they lose today, I still say they're going to play that game on. They'll have to play that game on Monday. They can't just let it sit at that point.
But Miami has the tiebreaker on Cincinnati, right?
Right. I'm just saying Arizona is going to slide back. And
answer the question, Governor. Does Miami have the damn tiebreaker or not?
Miami has the tiebreaker against the Reds. The Reds have the tiebreaker against Arizona. I'm saying when I see you next, the Reds and the Marlins are going to be the 2 final teams in the playoffs.
Oh, you think Arizona's just going to bottom out?
Maybe I'm hoping against hope, but yes.
I have lost all faith in the Cubs at this point.
They're finished.
My God. You had to win that game last night. You had to. And now I don't think there's any way they can get in technically. Because if they win the last 2 games, let's say Miami loses the last 2 games. I guess in theory, if Cincinnati loses, Miami loses the last 2 games, then they go and they lose to the Mets on Monday. That's how the Cubs get in. Because the Cubs don't have the tiebreaker either on Miami.
No.
For a very average baseball team, they sure do have a lot of tiebreakers.
Well, that's because they get to play the Mets 150 times a year.
No, all these tiebreakers are head to head.
Oh,
that means that the Marlins put it on your ass this year. That's what that means.
We only played 2 series. Oh, yeah, that's right, because they swept in the first one. We won the second series. Yeah, they got a one game over is why they got that tiebreaker against us.
That's why they have it the way they have it. I'll tell you what, if it got into the weeds I just hope it doesn't come down to this. So I was looking at the entire tie-breaking rules in Major League Baseball for the playoffs. It gets so ridiculous once you get past the head-to-heads.
Mm-hmm.
They start, okay, so have you looked into this yet to see like the bottom of it? It's insane. I can explain it real quick.
Go ahead.
They start going to your head-to-head matchups with common opponents in the second half of the year.
Yeah.
That is the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard of. Now, literally what they're trying to do is they're trying to go out there and get the hottest team per se down the stretch.
Right.
But you're really telling a fan, if it comes down to this and your team gets eliminated, is that ticket that they bought and went to in early May didn't matter. That's what you're really telling the fan. Like, it should be the collective of the entire season. It should not be just, well, the last 81 games, what was your record against this and that, which is what they're telling everybody. I'm like, that is Manfred had to be behind that crap. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and switch gears and jump into the world of football. If I'm hedging my bets right now and you're asking me who I think is actually going to be, and this isn't who I want in there, who do I think is going to be in the playoffs? I've got a feeling, man, that Seattle is going to actually win the next 2 games. I just do, because I feel like with all the injuries that Texas have, they're a bit of a paper tiger, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're in Seattle. Seattle's going to throw the kitchen sink at them. If Seattle wins those next 2 games, I do think Arizona wins one of those games against Houston. That would cause a 3-way tie in the AL West. And in that scenario, the Seattle Mariners win the West.
Yep.
Houston gets the wild card. Texas, bye-bye. And I think that's how it's going to go down. I really do. So if Arizona gets that 1 W, I think that's going to end up making them the 5 seed. It's not what I want. I really want to see Arizona either out of it or the 6 seed. Because if you can put Arizona and Milwaukee in the same series, go ahead and do it. I don't have to watch it because I could care less who wins that. The winner of that will probably be roadkill to the Dodgers anyways. Right?
Very true.
But if we get a version of Cincinnati, Philly, Miami, Philly, somehow they resurrect it, Cubs, Philly, that's what I'm really wanting, because that's what I think Braves country wants to watch, wants to pay attention to. They want a fun opponent for Philadelphia, because we're going to be watching it. I'm going to be bringing those games to everybody. Whoever Philly ends up playing, I do believe that's who we're going to end up broadcasting, assuming it's not some weird start time. As long as they don't start the series 9 a.m. on C-SPAN on Tuesday morning, then that's the plan right now. So, anyways, let's go ahead and transition into the and as far as the American League goes, I believe Toronto's going to find a way to win. Although I'll tell you what, they have not been playing well. I mean, they lost 2 of 3 at home to the Yankees, and the Yankees have packed it up. They have packed it up. So, anyways, let's go ahead and transition into the world of the National Football League. All right, Doug, your Raiders, the Raiders. First of all, are you ever going to have a home game? Because every time I see that the Raiders at home, there's more fans in the stands of the opposing team. Are they finally getting a home game this week?
You know what? I'm going to say yes this week. Yes, we'll finally have a home game. Probably be the only home game we'll have this season, but yeah, we're going to have a home game this season.
I get it. I understand that the Raiders are a transplant. They're kind of nomads. People who live in Vegas, from Vegas, they don't have a tie to the Raiders, so they grew up watching whoever they watch. And I'm sure a lot of people, and I think the Raiders will always deal with this, even after like 20 years when they get ingrained into the community. People are going to take their vacations to go see their team in Vegas to play the Raiders. They're going to go watch a football game, and they're going to have some fun in the casinos.
Yep.
That's always.
And last week's game, I wasn't surprised by all the Pittsburgh fans showing up. Look, Pittsburgh fans in every sport are fanatical about the city of Pittsburgh is fanatical about sports, period. So them showing up in mass to Vegas was not a surprise at all.
And so for people who might be looking at the schedule going, man, what are you talking about? Why is McGee saying the Raiders are at home? They're at home because they're going back to Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is more their home than what the San Diego Chargers are calling home. That's another nomad team that doesn't really have an affiliation for the teams that are there. Looking at the Raiders this week, and by the way, how impressive is that Lions team right now?
Very impressive. Very impressive. That was a brilliant game that they played. I mean, they
dominated them. And look, I tried to warn people earlier in the week. Green Bay was fool's gold. That Jordan Love brought the troops back on a rally on Sunday, but that was after Derek Carr went down. Right?
Yeah.
They have been a paper tiger, and we see it now unfold. But getting over to that Raiders game, the Raiders-Chargers 4:05 game, Chargers are a 5-point favorite. There is no way I would take the Chargers and give up 5. There's no way. The Chargers don't beat anybody by 5 points. Every game of the LA Chargers starts and ends with this. If something weird happens in the first series, a weird turnover, whatever, on either side. Then there's about 2.5 minutes left. The Chargers either have the ball on their own 8 and have to march the entire length of the field to win the game, or the Chargers have putted the ball down to the opposing 8, and that team is going to whittle their way down and have a chance to win it at the end. There's no way I would give up 5 points. I think that's a sucker bet.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pick'em game at best. And also, I don't think Garoppolo is going to be playing this tomorrow either.
It's going to be a huge problem.
Actually, a lot of fans have been. I know this might sound strange, but people want to see Aiden O'Connell play football. I know it's strange because they don't want to see Hoyer play. If they put Hoyer,
the unknown backup quarterback is always the most popular player on any team. That's why. Because everybody thinks and dreams and what got to give him a chance and blah, blah, blah. Because every fan thinks that they know more than what the coaches know who are in there every day. By the way, something we got to talk about real quick. This Chandler Jones thing. Have you been keeping up with this?
Yeah, unfortunately I have.
Man, that is scary stuff.
Yeah. That's why he was arrested last night. So,
was he arrested? I missed that.
It happened like last night, sometime around between 10 and midnight. I saw something come up. Yeah, he was finally they arrested him.
What was the charge?
Well, he was sending more rants out on YouTube and TikTok, and basically the way it was inferred is like he was gonna like do a postal thing, come kill Josh McDaniels or something to that effect. And that was enough, making a threat like that. They went to his house and went and got
here
him.
It is. I got it now. Chandler Jones was arrested after stealing items from outside his girlfriend's house.
Oh, is that what it was? Because he was making threats too.
He then proceeded to burn them in his backyard and then sending her videos while doing it. So what I think this really is, because a lot of junk like this can happen and nothing gets done. But this gave the authorities an excuse to go get him and get him some psychiatric treatment, because he is obviously, man, he is off the reservation.
Yeah, because that was the previous thing. Like I said, he was talking about going to Josh McDaniels' house, and I guess it wasn't enough. And then finally, he gave himself enough rope for them to take him. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, this has been bizarre. And it all started because the Raiders closed the workout facilities, and it just triggered him because he was like, "You're trying to stop me from being a player," and this Then he was sitting out naked in front of the police station. That was the next thing.
Well, now I've done that.
Oh yeah, I was like, well, I've always thought about it.
I did that last time the Braves won the World Series. All right, Doug, let's step aside, take a quick break. When we come back, the boys are jumping in. Joey and Tones, top of the hour, 10 a.m. to kickoff. We'll be here the rest of the way. Let's get it.
We can finally play the game. It is the third Saturday in October, and the show is on one more time in Knoxville, Tennessee.
We are live in Tallahassee, the capital of the great state of Florida.
There's no law against scalping tickets in this part of the country, and premium prices have been paid. That's Desmond Howard going in motion on 2nd down and 5 for Michigan, playing on real grass at Michigan Stadium. Throw it to the sideline. It is intercepted. Florida State was sitting and waiting for it, and Terrell Buckley has scored a touchdown. How do you do?
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone for the play. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California.
The throw down, he's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown, Florida. Tyree Cleveland in a miracle finish. A Hail Mary that's full of grace for the Gators. Barkley trying to bounce it. And does escape. Saquon Barkley in the clear. Still going. Saquon Barkley all the way to the end zone. Electric, 79 yards.
It's a 31-30 game, and what does Nebraska do?
I have not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. He's decided to go for 2 and take his shot at winning. I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
And if in 48 seconds they become the winner, they certainly deserve to be national champions.
Here come the Seminoles of Florida State, one of the great traditions in college football, and this becoming one of the nation's favorite rivalries. It's a battle for bragging rights and recruiting advantages in the state of Florida as the Gators come calling, and Chief Osceola ready to get it started. College football. A matchup from the state of Florida. It's the Gators against the Seminoles on an overcast day in Tallahassee.
Moody flush, throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it.
Today, we've got number 1 Seminoles against number 2 in the capital city of Tallahassee.
like a boy, and every wife could kill. He's been buying beer since August, running hot and running cold. And 30 friends are on alert, that's all the den'll hold. 'Cause he's the armchair quarterback, he's full of beer.
All right!
That's the all-American man. Yeah, the armchair.
Good morning, everybody. Big day of college football. Well, for some. The two guys on your right on the screen are Notre Dame fans. I am off. Florida State's on a bye. Penn State's off this week?
We got Northwestern, so not quite off, but near off.
Much like their entire schedule, they've been off all year, but it'll heat up. It's a very Georgia Bulldog-like schedule, right?
Hey, we had Iowa last week. They were looking pretty good.
Yeah, they look wonderful.
Until they played us, they did.
Yeah, that is not a good football team. I thought that maybe they had actually fixed some offensive problems. Man, I was going to Iowa.
Cade McNamara hasn't done anything in his couple of weeks there thus far. He was their big prized possession in the NIL free agency, I like to call it, and he really hasn't enhanced that offense much.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening if you're an Iowa fan. If you've been watching this for the last several years, and you're literally, if you get in a big game, you're hoping you can win 14-10. Like that is your ceiling for offense.
When your punter is your prized possession, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's bad. I was at home against Michigan State. I do think they'll bounce back tonight, mainly because Michigan State is an absolute dumpster fire right now with the whole. And I'll tell you right now, I'm telling you, old boy's going to get some money out of that lawsuit. The more and more I look into the whole thing with Mel Tucker, Michigan State is going to, when this whole thing comes out, they're going to look really bad in this situation. They tried to find a way out of their 80 million. And look, when it's all said and done, they may not have to pay 80 million, right? They may not have to pay a portion of it. So they may save some money. But what's going to happen is if you were a major college football coach, let's say there was a chance that they could get Deion Sanders to come from Colorado. That's gone. That is gone. That is over. Because no major college football coach is going to go, yeah, let me get signed up with that junk. Let me go up there and see if I can get railroaded into some kind of a lawsuit. Go Spartans. The only person you're going to get is like some coordinator's about to get fired from their current position. You know, like the Iowa offensive coordinator. Like that guy will jump ship and go, might as well restart the clock. Let's go. Joey, how are you?
Oh, I'm fired up, coming off of that tough loss last week. We're down 17-14, obviously, with Ohio State. You got to bounce back. I think Marcus Freeman will get the boys back ready to play. Game days in Duke today, so the people are going to be shouting from the Mary Tops, and we got to get this win. We cannot lose. You cannot have two losses with the schedule we have remaining. If you want to make the playoff, it starts today. We got to go into Riley Leonard and tell him and his mother to shut up, and we got to get this victory over the Dukies.
So we finally got you rejuvenated. You're no longer, your head's out of the oven, that whole thing.
Yeah, it took me till about Thursday night to get out of the oven of that Ohio State loss, but here we are.
You told about your first cup of coffee this morning. I can't change the past. Let's go.
There's nothing I can do about it. My hands are up. I'm ready to fire off. Let's go Irish, right, Doug?
I can't go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to get full Chandler Jones over here. Now let's get it. Let's calm it down. Let's not start interrupting times with Britney Spears. Let's calm her down. Let's calm her down. Let's get focused. Duke's coming in, or actually, you're going to Duke. That's a fun game, man. No one's really talking about it per se because it's Duke is what the problem is. If you put that same moniker, undefeated in the top 20, if you put that same moniker, by the way, game day is at Duke this week, which is weird. That just sounded like to me that they're like, when are we ever going to go to Duke again? Let's go.
They haven't been there in the history of the show, so that's part of it, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I can only think of a couple of years where Duke was actually pretty good. There was one in the early 90s. I don't think they were doing the traveling show back then, and Duke was highly rated, and they played a highly rated Florida State team. That's really the last. And then there was another year, like 4 or 5 years after that, where they were decent. And every time they played Florida State, but this is in Bobby Bowden's heyday. He just steamrolled them. But that's the only time I can remember Duke being like undefeated, relevant this late in the season, right? And actually have a win under their belt, like one that you can go, hey, we beat Clemson.
Yep.
Clemson might have given that game away, but no one really gives a game away. A team has to help take it, right? So, by the way, I can't get into this. Them put nothing against Stanford Steve. I love Stanford Steve, but I can't get into them trying to replace Bear with Steve over on the side. And he's got this weird traveling refrigerator. I don't know what the hell that's about. He's Stanford Steve, and it's an orange refrigerator. What is that about? So is he really Oregon State Steve? Like what is that? Man, by the way, Tones, thanks a lot, man. I lost some hay because of you last night.
Uh-oh.
Well, I won hay, but
the Utah pick.
I know that I won all the other crappy college games.
I was going to say we didn't win that one, man, because I put money on. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of digging. You know what I did? I even teased it. I was getting 11.5 points.
Did that quarterback look terrible or what?
Yes, for one little I saw. So I'm doing the Braves game. I kept looking over, and in my mind, going, "Come on, what are you doing? Hit the broadside of a barn. What are you doing?" And so I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm turning it off. I'm going to put it on the Louisville game." I had baseball everywhere else, and I was like, "I'm going to keep it on the Louisville game." And then when it gets to the end, the Braves game will be over, and I'll be able to go sit down and watch the rest. It was 21-0 by the time I got out of the studio. And they did not have a semblance of any kind of offense. So I'm like, there's no way they're scoring twice in the next 12 minutes because, well, they suck. And, yeah, he's terrible. I knew it was bad when I turned it on. I didn't even see the score, and I could hear them as I'm heading to the kitchen, and they're talking about the timeline of hopefully getting Cam Rising back. And I'm like,
yeah, they cost me. I had a $5 parlay in all the college games. I would have won 80. Those turds screwed up. I will say, felt good to have a big football game on, but it crapped the bed, man. It wasn't anything to watch. It was awful.
I was with you. I wasn't sure if they would stay within 4, so that's why I teased it. Mm-hmm. But I did not see them getting just absolutely just pummeled. Which, by the way, that means if you're thinking about putting money on Florida right now, think about that. Think about what you saw last night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. NC State Louisville was actually a fun one, though. I will say Louisville ended up coming back and winning that thing. That was a good college.
My team, Louisville, baby. Let's go.
They're 5-0.
They did not cover, though, and that's the key thing. They lost on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about that yesterday, and I hit the NC State game. I took NC State in the points, and then I teased NC State with a what's the name of that crappy team? Utah. Man, that was disappointing. I did it in a baseball parlay, which is rare because normally baseball parlays, one of them just absolutely spits the bit.
Mm-hmm.
I took the run line with Arizona, barely got it. Pirates, barely got it. And Seattle, easily got that one.
Yeah, that was an easy one for them. Did the Braves end up winning that racer? I know that it was looking 4-2.
We pulled everybody in the third inning. I'm like, I would have liked to have known that before I put some money on this crap. After 2 at-bats, Olsen and Acuna came out. They already had Arcia and Michael Harris not playing. And let me tell you something. If anybody wants to make a trade for Luke Williams, right now, I will accept whatever trade, and you're not allowed to see video of him at the plate. This guy sucks, man. I mean, he sucks. I think his batting average is .51 now, and he doesn't get many at bats for the Braves, for the Atlanta Braves. Like he was mainly there for a defensive replacement. If something were to happen in the month of September, and he does have good speed, but he's not even a great base runner. Like Forrest Wall's a good base runner, damn good base runner. This guy, few games back, they put him into pinch run, and he got gunned down at the plate because he didn't tag third quick enough. So he's an athlete. I'll give him that, and that's where it ends. Lucas Williams probably should have thought about playing something like basketball or track or something, because baseball, like you have to. I'm sorry, but you have to have hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working. Anyways, back to football. Back.
God.
We don't want to talk about the Cubs. That pissed me off.
Yeah, if you want to win money, bet against the Cubs. They're making it look real sweet.
Jeez, I saw they came back and were going to extra innings. Like, they're going to do it. They're going to come back. Let's go. And then they don't even score a run in the 10th.
We choked harder than Kim Kardashian.
Ghost runner. They got a ghost manager. That's what they've got. They don't have a ghost runner. They got a ghost manager. So you're going in down the stretch real quick. Cubs and Reds are tied. They're chasing down Miami, but Miami, because they came back and did the miracle win against Pittsburgh, they essentially only need one win. I do want to see them have to go to New York to play that one inning on Monday, because I just think it would be funny. So however that can play out, can we get them on the plane, really piss them off?
Fantasy baseball.
Walking, and they're depleted and complaining about how tired they are. Did you see the whole video of how this went down the other night, where the Miami manager, what is his name? Shoemaker. He was out there helping the grounds crew of the New York Mets getting the tarp on and off the field because he wanted to get the game played.
Well, the Mets pay so many people that they probably can't afford the grounds crews.
So it goes back to several days before. So our buddy Steven was complaining about this in the chat, but he didn't have all the information. He thought it was something that the Mets did the day of the game on that Tuesday when they called a rain out, even though there was very little rain. What it was is the previous few days before that, the Mets ground crew, because the Mets weren't in New York, they did not go out and put tarps on the field. That was when the torrential downpour, the hurricane came through there. So 2 or 3 days later, whatever the timeline was, the ground was still soaked, and that's why they couldn't play the game on Tuesday. So they had to play a doubleheader on Wednesday. So that's what really happened. So evidently, manager of the Miami Marlins already knew all this information. He was already pissed off at the grounds crew. And Thursday night, he's out there ripping tarps. And when they finally got to it, so there's a rule in Major League Baseball that you can't go back and start an inning before 1 a.m. because it's just, in coordinates with pretty much every local law. They couldn't get the tarp out in time because the Mets ground crew screwed that up again that night. And so when it finally came about, you should see the video of the Miami manager. I'll send it to y'all. He is just in the face of the freaking ground school. Basically, you suck. You suck at your job. You suck at life. Yeah, that's why you're a stupid Met. You suck. He was on them. So that's a crazy thing because the Mets ground crew did not take care of the field last weekend. The Marlins may have to play a game on Monday or play an inning on Monday. It's not even a full inning. I think there's 2 outs in the top of the 9th.
The Mets are always going to Met one way or another.
Yeah. And I can see the Miami argument. They should have been given the win because of all the circumstances, but that's not the way the rules go. And anyways. All right. Notre Dame, Duke. Give it to me. What's the score on there, Mr. Joey?
Yeah, I was a little less bullish when we were on the show earlier in the week, but I'm going to, you know what? Screw it. This is a must win. We cannot go on the road and lose this game. I think our offense with Hartman and Estime will get fully back on track on this one. And the Dukies, with all the hype, it ends at kickoff tonight. I'm going to go Notre Dame 31, Duke 20. We take this game in what seems to be a pretty comfortable fashion as we get towards the end. Let's go Irish by 11.
And more importantly, they cover the spread, right?
Even better for those bettors out there. Cha-ching!
Doug, what's your score on this game? Our resident but quiet Notre Dame fan. You never hear him talk about it, but he is a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, I got Notre Dame bouncing back in this game. They got to be careful. Duke's more of a dangerous team than people give them credit for, but I've got Notre Dame winning 31-24.
So you got them covering.
Yep.
All right, Tones, what say you?
I think Notre Dame covers, and I think they actually look pretty dang good in what I call an elimination game. Whoever loses this game is eliminated from playoff contention, in my opinion. I think Notre Dame wins, and I think they do it by double digits. Give me Notre Dame 34, Duke 23.
All right, I'll be the lone wolf. I do think Notre Dame finds the W. Man, if you're going to give me 5.5 points, home game, first time they've ever had a relevant game there in Duke in basically a generation. I just think it's going to be a lower scoring game. What I really love in this game is the under, the 53. But I would take Duke in the 5.5, thinking Notre Dame. I got Notre Dame winning this like a 21-17, like a situation where they get the ball at the end and they're just turning the clock out and playing keep away with Duke. I don't know if Duke's going to be able to put enough points up to scare Notre Dame, considering how good that defense from Notre Dame looked good. Now, I think Ohio State's offense sucks this year, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I think their defense looked good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got that one in the books. And what time is that Penn State game? Is that a noon kickoff? Did I see that?
Yep, noon kickoff, Penn State, Northwestern.
Lord have mercy. What's the line like? 27. Good night, Irene.
Northwestern actually won last week against Minnesota. I knew it'd be a large line, but 27 is a little hefty.
The line I'm more interested in, because I think we all know Penn State's going to win and should win handily. The over-under 48. Does it hit? Tones?
I think it does, because when Penn State takes starters out, they like to get their young quarterbacks into the mix of things. They don't take the foot off the gas necessarily. They have the best running back tandem in the entire country. So whether they're running clock or wanting to get their backup quarterback in play, I think the over does hit.
Joey, that 27 points, would you be able to take Northwestern, or are you out?
You know what? I'll take them on like a late backdoor cover in that area where they do get it, because they have been playing a little bit better football ever since their brutal start with Illinois and Rutgers, where they just got manhandled. But I do think on their home field, Penn State second half eases up, like Tones alluded to, maybe take some people out. If I had to put money here in a game I'm going to stay away from, I'd throw a little cash on the Northwestern spread.
All right, Doug, I'm going to throw one at you. What if I were to tell you that you could either tease Penn State down to 20.5 points, minus 20.5, and the over being, what would that take it to? 41.5. Or would you go the other direction and take Penn State, take Northwestern plus 33.5 and the under at 54.5?
I take the former. I take the tees at 20.
And take the over?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's what I would do too if I tease this game. I think I'm gonna stay away from it. I got too many what do they call it, irons in the fire. I got too much on here today that I don't need to be sitting there stressing out about. Plus, I think you got to pull up Peacock TV again to find the damn thing. So it's not on Peacock, or is it on Peacock?
It is, I believe. Thank God.
I'm gonna watch this game. It's not conflicting with, because last week the problem, even though I had it on, I was locked into the Ohio State game. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not. It's on Peacock. I'm not.
No, don't worry. It's on Big Ten Network today. All is good.
Oh, it is on Big Ten. Okay.
Yep.
That's a lot easier for me to put on a random device than it is Peacock.
And one nice thing, if it is on Big Ten Network, you could actually still stream it from the Fox Sporting app as well. So even if you don't have Big Ten Network, you could get it through the Fox app.
You can stream Big Ten Network for free on the Fox app?
They are partnered.
Yep.
Now, does that mean that you have to already have like FS1 or something, or are you talking about that you just go in there with no credentials? You just go in there and
as long as you have a cable provider, they give it to you. Now, some stuff is locked, like European soccer and all that crazy stuff. The fancy.
But you already have Big Ten Network on your cable provider, though.
I do, but I'm not sure if Joey does, but I get it at his location too. So
I get it. Yeah, I get it. As long as you have a cable login, you go into Fox, bada bang, bada boom. You can watch it.
But but do you have the Big Ten Network on your cable?
Yes.
Packet? So that's why it's intertwined that way. That's why. So in other words, if someone didn't have the Big Ten Network and they put their cable provider in, they're going to get access denied.
I feel like that's one of those channels are kind of shoveling in a lot of sports things nowadays. It's becoming a little more popular.
I honestly haven't used the Fox Sports app in a long time, so I haven't had a real reason to, but that is interesting that I did not know that they were partnered up.
Not a bad idea when you're getting all these mega deals, all these TV deals and whatnot. Fox is a little smart there to jump on the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Before Doug jumps off of here, NFL, big games of the day. Doug, we already talked about the Raiders and the Chargers. What's the one game that you're looking forward to tomorrow outside of that?
Oh, let me see. I just drew a blank. I've been so focused on the Raiders, I don't care about anything else. But the other one was, unfortunately, the other game I cared about was the Thursday game with Green Bay. Those were the two games I was so focused on.
Well,
and we already saw what Detroit did. So,
what's going to get more clicks this week? Taylor Swift at the game or Aaron Rodgers at the game? Because Aaron Rodgers found out that Taylor Swift was going to be at the game. Now all of a sudden he's getting on a plane from Malibu and he's going to be on the sideline supposedly. That is not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence.
No, it's not. That'll get more coverage than the game.
Maybe Rodgers and Swift got something behind the scenes. Maybe Kelsey's the jokester on this one.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe he's in the middle of it.
Well, hands up.
You never know. Rich people do weird things, man. They get bored with reality.
Things are going crazy.
There's no way that is a coincidence that he's waiting till the Sunday night game that Taylor Swift's going to be at the ball game. They'll say, if the doctors clear me, I'm coming. Yeah, I bet you are, Panama. I bet you are, clickbait Nancy. I bet you are. You don't get enough attention getting on jumping on McAfee show once a week. Now you're like, oh, I got to have people see me on Sunday Night Football too. No one wants to see your old broken leg ass on the everyone's going to be looking at Taylor Swift. Let's be real. She's not even that hot, but, she's a hell of a lot more talented than Aaron Rodgers.
Never thought I enjoyed Brittany Mahomes so much until now.
Oof. But she's going to try to wiggle her way into some kind of friendship with Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift already said she was a very nice lady.
Oh, but you know. Yes, Taylor ain't gonna say, but she's going to be trying to clamor on and, ride the coattails. She's going to be trying to, release her own album by February. It's going to be a disaster.
Jackson Mahomes has a part of it.
God.
Yeah, if Creeper Jackson's out of jail by then, he'll be doing some Trump type things, right?
Or Michael Jackson type things.
Yeah. Or
sniffing.
Yeah. It's going to get weird, man. It's going to get real weird. It's going to get real weird in the middle of nowhere, America, Kansas City, right?
Oh boy. Wow, wow, wow.
Doug, what is your lock? What is your walk-off? Give us the stupid underdog.
Stupid underdog. I'm going to take South Carolina to upset Tennessee.
I like that one.
My lock is I got the Raiders winning 34-31 in a shootout. Like we said earlier, it's going to come down to who gets the ball last.
So Raiders +5. I'll warn you about that Tennessee game. I don't think Tennessee's very good, but they have had this game circled since last November because they got their doors blown off by South Carolina. That was when Tennessee was still at their apex, and their quarterback got hurt in the middle of that game. He gutted it out. He ended up after the game, he ended up being, having the knee injury, et cetera, and the rest is history. But those fans have had this game circled. They scored 66 on Tennessee last year. And though I do think the 11.5 is a very large spread, it's a strange spread, I think that's factored into it. I think they believe that now Joe Milton's going to have to be better than Joe Milton. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Joe Milton sucks, but we'll see. If he's going to come alive, the South Carolina secondary is the one to do it on. They've been torched all year long. All right, Doug, what's your one big thing that's going to happen this weekend?
Big thing is Reds are going to win their final 2 games. Other guys are going to drop the game, and next time I talk to you, Reds are going to be in the playoffs.
All right, brother. We will see you on Tuesday. And good luck to your Raiders. Good luck to your Reds. Most importantly, bad luck to the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Marlins, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back in a flash jump. Bobby's
Good
jumping
luck.
from the bullpen. Keep it locked in here on Braves Country. Oh, this ain't Braves Country. This is Armchair Quarterbacks. God dog it. All right. We've got a showdown in London of the Jaguars and the Falcons. So we're going to take you to somewhere over there across the pond. Normally you'd be talking about bangers and mash. This is a little different because you're going to be tailgating. It's going to be in the morning. So we did a little different thing. These are called just bangers and taters. We couldn't come up with a better name. So that's where we got to that. So anyways, bangers and taters. And keep your mind out of the gutter. Here we go. Okay, so you got the bangers. We put it on a hoagie bun. Very, very simple, right? We brown the onions. And what we're going to do there is we're going to put them over the bangers. Put a little salt and pepper. Then we're going to have the taters with them. And what I did was I cut the taters up, fried them off, just in oil, salt and pepper, and garlic salt. Phenomenal. Next thing you got to do is you got to melt that cheese because you don't want that cheese all unmelted. So we're going to do that and then show you the finale. Okay, so you've got the bangers and taters. Put a little parsley on that. Probably going to add parsley at the end as well. You got your fried egg, which is seasoned. If you're serving this for folks, you might want to put a little parsley. Just give a little color to it. And there you have it. Jags versus the Falcons. 9:30 Sunday morning. So that's the hints. We put a little eggs in there, get you going here. Bangers and taters. Jags, Falcons. Let's get it.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair.
He only has 3 rings.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at ourdragonsmerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at ourdragonsmerch.com. That's the letter R, dragonsmerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Le'Veon Bell, he put out a single for people to listen to on Twitter of a rap album that he's really proud of. He asked for people to critique it. Keenan Allen, the receiver of the Chargers, came back with the trash emoji.
Appreciate your honesty.
And what's even better, and I can't do it justice because we're on radio, you've got to see the video. The video that he put up. Oh, my God. It's like the most funny and exciting thing I have ever seen because it's like really bad late 80s, early 90s rap video. But anyways, the video is the best part of the whole thing. He's got a hoodie on. It's staged almost like black and white. He's like under a bridge somewhere where there's like a bonfire going.
Hard times.
So like, yeah.
Hard times.
You know, hard times for a guy making millions.
He can relate.
But the funniest part is when he's got the hoodie on, he's doing poses and stuff like that and kind of jiving around. And then this is the funniest part. Out of nowhere, sorry, I can't get it out. He comes up from under the screen. So in other words, like
from the Muppets or something?
Almost like the Muppets.
When you see just the figure just come straight up.
Yes, the gig comes straight up while he's also in the background. Uh-huh. It's like the worst thing put together ever. I don't know how to edit a video. We could do better than this. I'm telling you.
Who's the director, Pouncey?
Armchair.
Why, any fool could see he made that first down when he dived. If Howard Cosell came in now, he'd never get out alive. 'Cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. And joining on to the show is Mr. Bobby. Bobby, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to a weekend full of football. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it today.
Are you as excited about the Florida Gators after watching what Utah was last night?
I'm not worried about that game. That's the past. I'm not worried about that. I'm focused on Kentucky. And if we're talking about past Florida performances, I'm more excited now because of how we played against Tennessee. Not worried about the Utah game right now.
Please answer the question, Senator.
I'm not worried about the Utah game, no.
That's a great way to sidestep that. You had to be going, dude, this team kicked the crap out of us. Thank God we didn't play Oregon State. That's
and Oregon, I don't know what to make of Oregon State. I mean, they must be solid, but yeah, that Utah team doesn't look as good right now.
I've seen them play a few times. I mean, Oregon State's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
They're really built on defense, which obviously is what they did to Utah last night because Utah's offense is just terrible. Yeah. And it's even worse this year without Cam Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Well, it's weird because Cam Rising was a game-time decision heading into week 1, and it's now it's week 5 and he's not here.
Yeah, he's been a game-time he's been a game-time decision for the entire season is what he's been. I'm starting to think we're not going to see him this year.
Why not?
Yeah, at this point, if we haven't yet.
If so, you got to start banging the team total under for Utah because that kid they had out there last night, he is awful.
Yeah.
The noon kickoffs, the big ones. You got Southern Cal at Colorado. Man, the bloom came off that rose, didn't it? I thought game day'd still be out there. I thought they'd still be tongue bathing Dion. I haven't heard one damn thing about Dion all week long.
Nope.
That happened quick.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
De-escalated quickly. That crashed out of a mountain. They play today at noon. Anyone giving Colorado any chance of covering this spread?
Not after what we saw last week. No.
Nope.
22 points.
I don't think so. I mean,
I will today just because I was so against them last week when I was against them before they walked on midfield like a bunch of hooligans. But after that, I was really off them. I thought Oregon win by a big margin. Today at home, even if it's a backdoor cover, I'll give them a fighting chance on covering. No shot in heck at winning, of course, but I'm going to give I'll take the 22.
USC is better than Oregon to me, and I think this game could get uglier than last week, and that's speaking volumes. So I don't think it's anywhere near 22.
The way I feel about this game is much better chance for this. So remember last week I said bang that under, bang that. There's no way that over is going to hit. I feel like this week the over could hit because USC's offense is better than Oregon's, but their defense is nowhere near on the level of Oregon's. I can't wait till those two square off. I do believe Oregon is the better overall team, but to Tones' point, their offense is electric, and they're going to be able to put up points. USC, Oregon, we'll argue about that down the road.
Yeah, because those aren't even the best two teams in the conference, in my opinion. Washington should be a top 5 football team right now.
I know everyone's on that Washington train, but I got to see Washington play somebody. That's the problem. But I still have that. You know what pops in my head when you tell me Washington? Because I was listening to a national show this week, one that's not on the 4-letter network, but it's a popular podcast, right? And this guy's huge on Washington. He's been telling everyone how good Washington is. But every time he'd bring it up, what keeps popping in my head, remember when we were told Washington was a really good team, and then Alabama beat them into submission in the playoffs? They couldn't even pass midfield. It was like, what the hell am I looking at? I get that feeling. And was it last year when Georgia got a hold of Oregon in the first game of the season? And it was like 49-3, and it wasn't even that close. It was much like the Colorado game last week, where you're like, dude, they could have easily hung 90. They all that pregame junk that went viral, they actually played nice with Colorado.
Yeah, the Pac is actually one of the better conferences in football this year in their last year of existence. Go figure.
We think.
Well, we think.
They are definitely more hyped than most years. I'll give you that.
And their quarterbacks are definitely the best group of quarterbacks in college football out of all conferences.
I still go to, do we know that? Because what have they faced? We haven't had a big matchup east of the Mississippi yet, right?
Well, I mean, even if we're not talking about this year alone, if we're just talking about overall quarterback play, I mean, still it goes to the Pac-12 because we saw what Caleb Williams did last year. Michael Penix looked good as well in the past. Yeah. I mean, they're the best quarterback conference in the country.
Probably.
We got a good body of work.
The only reason why I'm going to put that asterisk on there, Michael Penix fell apart at the end last year. In big games, he had a lot of turnovers. I'll give you Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
The problem with Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams is always going to have big stats anyways because his defense is giving up big stats. So if you're going to win, you can't ground and pound and go, all right, guys, let's go out there and get a first down. And go, first down, we're down by 17. Let's go. Come on. Let's speed it up.
Really, I think the problem is
I'll be a bigger believer when I see them come east of the Mississippi and beat somebody. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
saying I think it's more of a kudos to the other quarterbacks too, because the other conferences that they don't really have good quarterback play. If you look at the Big Ten and SEC, quarterback play isn't really even good.
Is the Big Ten and SEC so much more dominant on the defensive lines that you can't get that quarterback play?
Maybe
you're running not in the SEC. I mean, this isn't the SEC of old. These defenses aren't shutting everyone down anymore. So I don't think that argument holds up. You can make that argument for the Big Ten. But even then, still, there isn't strong quarterback play in the Big Ten, not enough to compete with Pac-12.
Okay, you'll say that now, but I'll put this out there. We get to the playoffs.
And here we go.
I can't wait until you take a Pac-12 team to beat an SEC team in the playoffs. Because I don't think you will. I think this
No.
is talk in September. I think we get to December and you're going to be like, dude, what are you, nuts?
And I may do that. I may pick an SEC team over a Pac-12 team, but
that will be on the Pac-12 defenses. That will be on the defenses.
Yeah.
I don't know about the quarterbacks.
Or is it because the defensive lines of the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or SEC, excuse me? It's just it's a fun argument because we don't really know yet. We're going to find out, we think. I'll be interested to see what the Southern Cal offensive line does against the Notre Dame defense. And is that next week or is that the week after? It's coming soon, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is it 2 weeks? Okay. I knew it was in October because they play in South Bend this year. So all I know is that traditionally teams east of the Mississippi have much better line play. Teams west of the Mississippi are usually better at quarterback and receiver play, but a lot of that is because they have forever to throw the ball, right? They're just sitting back there eating a lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Utah spit the bit last night because their offensive line got 8 up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance.
I can't wait till this all comes to a head.
I think if there's going to be a year for Pac to do it, though, I do think it's this year. Not saying
I
they
think
will.
Bobby's digging in because Florida lost to that terrible Utah team, and he thinks that makes them somehow relevant.
No, Utah's not good. I'm not going to pretend they are. But then again, that's a week 1 game. That's far in the past. If we're talking about recent games from Florida, I'm looking at that Tennessee win, and I have a lot more confidence in Florida right now than I did after week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I don't think Florida's I don't think Florida's good. They probably won't stay ranked for terribly long.
I don't think Tennessee beats Utah on a neutral field. Even with Utah's terrible offensive play, Tennessee's offense is bad, y'all. It's bad.
It is. They don't have any confidence in Joe Milton. They don't run anything other than screens. So I don't think they beat Utah, but it's not.
Would you have any confidence?
What?
Would you have any confidence?
Oh God, no.
I think that bodes well for the Pac, though, right? If we would pick Utah over Tennessee, I think that speaks volume for the depth of the Pac opposed to the SEC this season.
Yeah, that's true. Because Tennessee, going into the year, they were one of the better SEC teams.
And we were poo-pooing the whole morning on Utah, and now we're saying we would take them easily. So maybe we are bigger Pac believers than we thought.
Yeah.
Did we lose Joey, or did he not pay the electric bill or something?
The electric bill.
Is that what happened?
Angelo's paying his electric bill.
I just assume he got some kind of virus on his phone from all the stuff he downloads. So, anyways, back to the rest of the story. Seriously, is he okay?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back in a second.
All right. Well, I'm going to change the view until then because it makes it really weird to set it up that way. So anyways, the game, of course, as soon as I change the view, here he comes.
I said a second. I wasn't lying. I was not lying. On the over-under.
Here we go.
Pay your Wi-Fi bills, kids.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, you can't do anything right.
I'm following your footsteps.
Where was I at? Oh, yeah, Florida's playing Kentucky. Now, I know this one's under everyone's radar. This is the game that I'm probably most interested in watching today, I'll be honest. Because I think Kentucky's extremely underrated. I think Florida is better than that first week showing. They're not as good as the game. But that's just because Tennessee's not any good. Nothing against Florida. Tennessee proved their offense is trash, right?
Yeah.
This game is interesting to me because we're getting feedback somewhere. I don't know who that is, but anyway, we are. Joey, is that on your end? Let me try muting you and unmuting you. Anyways, the Florida Kentucky game. It's a 1-point favorite. Kentucky. I know you believe in your Gators, Bobby. What's the score in this game?
I'm gonna pick Florida to go in there and win, and I know I'm a homer. I know I'm making a homer pick.
You put big money on it.
Look, I've been relatively unbiased about Florida this year. I've been pretty objective about how I think they'll play, but that win over Tennessee gave me a lot of confidence. The play calling from Napier was great. I think we're going to go in there. I'm going to give us 27-24 win.
Okay, so I'm not saying that's high scoring for college football, but higher scoring than I had in my head.
Okay.
Hell, the over-under is 43.5.
Yeah, it's low.
Joey, if you can come on the mic, I don't know if you're still having issues. What is your prediction on Florida, Kentucky?
I'm going to take in. Man, this is one of the more intriguing games of the day. I'm be looking forward to watch it on the 4-letter network here in a little bit. But I'm going to take Kentucky since they're home. That's where the coin flip's going to lie for me. I think it's going to be a barn burner all the way down to the end. But I think at the end of the day, Kentucky just slightly comes out with a game-winning field goal, 24-23 Cats.
Tones?
Kentucky's 4-0. They've looked pretty good this year. They have big-time wins over Ball State, the Fighting Zips, Vanderbilt. Not that their schedule's been great. They do have some big-time wins. Florida barely eked by Charlotte last week, but that's a look-me-over game. I'm going with Florida. I got the points in Florida. Give me the 1.5 and the Gators, baby. They're going to roll Kentucky today. This is going to be a 10-point game at the very least. I'm on Florida's bandwagon all day. Coach Fabian, let's go.
I've never heard anyone say big wins over Ball State, Akron, and Vanderbilt.
That's the point.
Only Tones.
Okay. With the way you said it, they really had a statement win against Eastern Kentucky, that 28-17. That really showed they belonged.
I was fake hyping Kentucky. You know, they had a schedule even worse than Georgia and Penn State at this point in time, quite frankly.
I'm leaning on Kentucky for two reasons. A, they're at home. B, they've got a better quarterback. Now, Florida wins this game because I do believe they're going to be able to run the ball. I'm not, even as much as I talked about east of the Mississippi, blah, blah, blah. This isn't one of the defensive lines you worry about east of the Mississippi. So Florida's going to be able to move the ball. Kentucky is going to be able to move the ball. But because of Florida's nature, that's why I think the game's going to be lower scoring. Kentucky ekes this one out. 23-17 is what I have it. In fact, I predict Florida has the ball at the end and can't get it done because they need a touchdown to win. And Mr. Badger comes back home and there's suitcases on his lawn, the whole 9 yards.
Don't say that. And you mentioned the quarterback play. I don't think there's that big of a disparity in the quarterback play. Devin Leary isn't that good. Let's be real. He's not that good. And I'm not gonna sing my praises too much about Graham Mertz. Yes. But he's been pretty solid. And, that game against Tennessee, when he was rolling out of the pocket, when he had time to get out of the pocket and find an open man, he was tearing that defense up. He was tearing them up. And he's been accurate all season. He's looked good. He hasn't made any big mistakes. He's a good quarterback.
Defense. It's the Tennessee defense.
He's a good quarterback. Not a great one, but he's a good quarterback.
Tennessee and defense in the same sentence positively.
You know what? Hey, we'll see in a couple hours.
We damn sure haven't seen it in the Josh Heupel era.
Graham Mertz is going to outplay Leary. I'll put my money on that.
I like Leary. I think he's a little underrated. Mainly because anybody named Devin Leary is really close to Dennis Leary, and how can you not pull for a guy like that? And he's from Sicklerville, New Jersey. My friend, don't sleep on Sicklerville. I know that's not the juggernaut that Graham Mertz is, but
Look, take it to the bank. Graham Mertz is going to outplay Leary.
You know what Big Ten fans saw when they saw the Florida and Tennessee game? They said, we saw these two quarterbacks suck in our league last year. We don't need to see this again.
Well, I think that's a pretty big reflection of Wisconsin's offense, though. I think that's what it is more than anything. Because when they had Mertz rolling out of the pocket, having time to throw the ball, he looked really good. I mean, he was not making mistakes. He looked accurate. And he's quick, too. He's got wheels. If you watch that Tennessee game, you saw it. He can move. So if you get him rolling out of the pocket, that's a tough offense to stop, and I mean that.
Graham Mertz for Heisman It starts.
Oh, come on. I said he's good, not great.
Starts here. We'll start printing the T-shirts.
Good. Good, not great. All right. He's a good quarterback, though.
Mm-hmm. He's solid.
Fair enough.
Not anything great, but he's solid. He's a solid.
He is. And he's proved that so far.
I think he's going to make one incredibly dumb mistake in this Kentucky game, and then you're going to come back to earth.
But he hasn't made that mistake that I've been expecting all season. I was really low on Graham Mertz, but he's been very smart. He hasn't made any big mistakes like that. And if he does this week, it'll be a disappointment, that's for sure, but I'm not going to give up on him.
It's just like the Florida State fans who tried to tell me that Jordan Travis was going to win the Heisman. I'm like, the guy can't stay healthy. How the hell is he going to win the Heisman? You base it on they were basing it off of what he can do in one game. But to win the Heisman, you have to stay healthy and put numbers up every single game. Florida State could make the playoffs. He's still not winning the Heisman because he's fragile.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone giving Auburn a chance of covering the spread against Georgia? Not winning. It's a 15-point spread. It's on the Plains.
I think they could cover. I think it'll come down to a little hope in backdoorage, but Georgia really hasn't been blowing too many people out this year, so I'll give them a chance to cover.
Yeah, Georgia, they haven't smoked anybody like this year, but I do think they cover against Auburn because Auburn's not a good team. I mean, we finally saw Auburn play a real team in Texas A&M last week, which isn't even a good Texas A&M team, but they got smoked still. So I think Georgia covers.
Joey, what say you?
Yeah, I'm not going to give Auburn too much of a fighting shot today. I'll stick with Georgia. They'll prove today why they're still should be the best team in the country.
I think Georgia blows their doors off. Mainly because of one main stat that jumped out at me. Auburn was sacked 7 times last week against Texas A&M. Oof. So if you're going to get sacked by Texas A&M's terrible line, who couldn't stop water running downhill against the Miami Hurricanes, what is the Georgia Bulldog defensive line going to do to that?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm already the backup, the third string quarterback. I'm already faking COVID or something, and I can't play today, man. I got stuff to do. I got to write a paper. Just don't put me in. I swear to God, I'll quick punt it. If you put me in, I'm quick punting it.
I'll NIL out of here so fast.
At halftime. Hey, McGee, we're putting you in. Dude, that sucks, man, because I just transferred to Colorado. I'm out. I am
out. Prime sent me some sunglasses, so.
I am gone, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Another game that is interesting to me because of the spread. Does Nebraska cover against Michigan? 18 points at home against another team that you can run some parallels with Michigan and Georgia. We know they're good. They just haven't impressed. But I mean, I think it was it Joey last week said it best. They look bored. So are they just kind of going through the motions? Michigan's not a team that runs a score up anyways. They normally play very methodical.
Yeah.
I really like Nebraska to have a fighting chance to just cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have a better chance to cover than Auburn does versus Georgia. So, home game, obviously, things can happen. Michigan hasn't, they really haven't played too much of a schedule to this point, but I think Nebraska won't win this game by any means or even keep it within a touchdown. But why not lose by 14 or something and have an interesting game for about a half?
Yeah, I agree with that. And this is really right before Michigan's schedule starts getting a little interesting, right? To this point, we've obviously known they haven't played much yet. Still, next couple of weeks, Big Ten. But then they get into the Purdue's, the Penn States, the Maryland, the Ohio States of the world. So I think this is a look-me-over game, and I think Nebraska loses by 17, but that's enough to cover.
I'm with you on that. I think it'll stay within 18.
I take the over, too.
All right, stupid underdog time. I don't have our book up today. I'm doing that this week because I'm actually getting a chance to breathe with the Braves not being on for a day or two. So we'll just go in the order that I have it written on my pad. Tones, what is your stupid underdog this week?
There were some interesting ones. I'm going to go with the Fighting Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. They're getting 11 points. They're heading into Minnesota, and Minnesota has looked lethargic this year, barely squeaked by Nebraska. They lost to Northwestern last week. They got dismantled by North Carolina the week before that. Obviously, I know it's not a Power 5 team by any means, but I like the spunk that Louisiana's been fighting with this year. I think Louisiana definitely covers, and I give them an outside chance to gain me 11 points.
After that kickoff, Tones?
The time of that kickoff is noon Eastern time.
Noon.
Yes, sir.
I like those noon stupid underdogs because people were wiping the sleepies out of their eye. I go, whoa, what do you mean we're down by 12? What the hell's going on? Okay, here we go. I see it now. So 10 points. You're getting 10 points. All right. Cajuns. Joey, what is your stupid underdog?
You know what? Now that everybody's off Primetime's bandwagon, I'm going to jump onto the bandwagon, and I'm going to take all 22 points for the stupid underdog with Prime Time.
Just make sure you got a soft landing spot.
Never do over here.
Because that Bronc and Bull is going to buck, baby. Bobby, what is your stupid underdog?
I'm going to take South Carolina plus 12.5 in Knoxville against Tennessee. Tennessee, like we've seen, they're not that good of a team this year.
South Carolina was taken by Doug.
All right, here. Let me check. Good pick, Doug. Good pick.
Your Cardinals are out there.
I don't know about all that. I think we'll cover, but I don't pick us. You know what? Give me the Arizona Cardinals. I think at the very least, who knows? They're competitive. They've kept every game competitive this year. Who knows? Maybe the 49ers get caught sleeping. Yeah, I'll take us with the 14 points. It's a ridiculous NFL spread.
Yeah, that is.
Especially for a team that just beat the Cowboys. I mean, and every game's been competitive for us this year.
They should be 3-0.
Yeah. Or at the very least 2-1.
I know. If you want to know, I know. Going into San Fran, it's a big difference between playing at home and going to. Although I will say this,
it's not that big in the NFL though.
Huh?
It's not that big in the NFL though. That home advantage. It means something, but not as much as college football. I don't think.
It's a pretty big moniker when they're setting lines. Yeah, much more than in college football. It swings the line actually 1.5 points more in the NFL. What is your lock, Joey? I know you got to jump off.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the NFL for my lock. Watson's a little banged up. I think Baltimore goes in there. I'll take Baltimore +2 is my lock of the day. Go Ravens.
What's your one big thing?
My one big thing, man, my Cubs are toast. It's over, so I'm fully moving on to the National Football League, where the 2-1 Indianapolis Colts will get to 3-1 and be in first place in the AFC South a week from today when we're back on the show.
Probably not, but okay.
Oh, no, it will happen. The Jags will lose early to Atlanta, which will knock them out of the way, so that's nice.
I don't believe that's going to happen. I think Jacksonville's going to wake up this week, but we'll see.
They've pulled the first ever back-to-back London.
London is Jacksonville's home away from home.
Yeah.
London style, baby. All right, brother, we'll see you. I'm going to wait to do my stupid underdog after Steven jumps on. We're going to be back in a flash here on Braves Country Radio, the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show. Man, I almost did it again.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The college football slate gets rolling at noon Eastern. We'll hit the big ones to start it off. Southern Cal is at Colorado. The Trojans, 21.5-point favorite over under 73.5. That game can be seen on Fox. While number 6, Penn State, is at Northwestern on the Big Ten Network. Nittany Lions, a 26.5-point favorite. And at 12 Eastern, On ESPN, one of your better matchups of the day. Number 22, Florida Gators are 1-point underdog at the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky is undefeated. Game is in Lexington. 3:30 Eastern, the Georgia Bulldogs hunker down onto the plains of Auburn, one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football. Number 1, Georgia is a 14-point favorite. The over-under, 45.5. 3:30 Eastern, number 2, Michigan is at Nebraska. Wolverine, 17-point favorites, over under 39. Kansas, 24 in the land, at number 3, Texas. That game is 3:30 on ABC. Longhorns, 16.5-point favorite, over under is 61. Number 23, Missouri is at Vanderbilt. SEC Network, 4 Eastern. Missouri, minus 13.5, the over under 54.5. And at 6 Eastern on ESPN, the LSU Tigers are 2.5-point favorites at Ole Miss. The over-under is 67. 7:30 on ABC, you get number 11 Notre Dame at Duke. And over on the SEC Network, the South Carolina Gamecocks are 12-point dogs in Knoxville to the University of Tennessee. The Alabama Crimson Tide, number 12 in the country, 14.5-point favorites at Mississippi State. The Cowbells will be a-ringing. The over-under is 46.5. Undefeated number 7, Washington, is a 19-point favorite at Arizona. 65.5 is the number. And number 25, undefeated, Fresno State, hosts Nevada, who is winless. The Bulldogs are a 24.5-point favorite. Other games going on in the Southeastern Conference today. 12 Eastern on the SEC Network. A&M is at Arkansas. The Aggies, a 6-point favorite, over under 53.5. In the ACC, 2-2 Clemson is at undefeated Syracuse. The Tigers, 6.5-point favorites, over under 53. That is noon on ABC. The CW Network at 2 o'clock is covering Boston College hosting Virginia. The Golden Eagles, 3.5-point favorite, over under 53.5. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are 22-point favorites at home against Bowling Green. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech is a 3:30 kickoff on ACC Net. And on the ACC Network at 8 Eastern, it's Pittsburgh at Virginia Tech. The Panthers, a 2.5-point favorite, over under 39.5. 3-1 Iowa is at home against Michigan State. That's on Peacock. The Hawkeyes, 12.5-point favorite as they try to rebound from the blowout, over under 36.5. That's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
If y'all hit the lottery, y'all giving y'all girlfriends half?
Half? I ain't giving that goofy ass a penny. The only thing I'm giving her is this. Went to go get groceries. Be back soon. Psych! I just won the lottery. It's over, Goofy. I'm rich.
Welcome back. Hour number 2.5. And joining in it, as always, Mr. Stephen Troche for our talk a little college football. We start going towards the NFL in this hour. Stephen, how the hell are you?
And I'm doing great. It's one of my favorite years of the favorite weekends of the year. We got NFL, college football, last weekend of the baseball regular season. There's a lot going on, and just in the sports world in general, I'm ready for it.
Let me move this up and make it right, because you're the Marlins fan. Tones is the Cubs fan. The Marlins fan should actually be sitting above the Cubs fan right now on the screen.
I mean, it is fitting.
I don't think Tones is paying attention to what I just did. But anyways,
This is a football show. I'm blocking all the baseball out. Baseball's dead to me until next
Baseball?
week.
I ain't no baseball fan. Stop. Man,
What's baseball?
I'm a Brewers fan this weekend. I'll tell you that.
I was very close to saying that about college football in late third quarter of the Clemson game last week. I'm like, hey, college football is stupid anyways. Why are we wasting our time with this crap? Then Deloach sacked and scooped and scored. This is the greatest thing ever.
Trosh, y'all don't even have to scoreboard watch, man. If y'all can't beat the Pirates one more time, that's on y'all.
I mean, they're making it hard. I was watching that game last night, down 3-0, seventh inning. I look in the ninth, and Marlins are up 4-3. It's just they're pulling off one of those kinds of seasons.
That's been the story of the Marlins year. I think that was their 7th or 8th comeback in that late of a game, down 3 runs, as you said. They're maybe not destined to win the whole thing, but they're destined to be in the dance. I'd like to think so for sure.
They're destined to ruin someone's dreams this year.
Mm-hmm. Mine.
A couple of things happened last night. I told y'all that I thought Pittsburgh was going to be feisty. Pittsburgh blew that game. Pittsburgh should have won that game. So that hurt. Everyone else is trying to chase the Marlins. The other thing was the Cubs. I mean, come on, man. You got to beat the freaking Brewers when they're putting their backups in. And they're just, I mean, it's maddening. I didn't get to watch it pitch by pitch, as I'm sure you probably did, Tones, but I'm like looking over there. I'm like, dude, do you have a pulse? I mean, this is a team with a lot of veterans. Like there should be more pride.
Yeah, there should be way more pride, and it's really sad to see the past week play out. All I can say is this: a mini silver lining before the year started. I made a future bet on the Marlins to make the World Series. So, it was $4 to win 600. All they got to do is make it there. So,
yeah, don't spend that money yet. That's not happening. Because they're most likely
$7 if you can.
They're even if they win the prize of getting to play the Brewers, that just means they got to go play the Dodgers next.
Hey, you never know. All you got to do. I'm not saying they have a great chance, but just get there and look at Phillies last year. Anything could happen.
I could see them pulling an upset in the first round. I can't. That team doesn't have enough offense to go through the entire gauntlet to get to the World Series.
Probably not, but. That's why they got to play.
Regardless, it's been a great job by what is her name? Ken? Is it? How do you pronounce her last name?
I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, she's doing a fantastic job with that team.
I've heard it, and it always falls out of my head after I hear it. It's not the way it's spelled. Like the way it's spelled, you think it's going to be pronounced a different way. But anyways, she's done a great job, and. The entire management staff has done a great job because honestly, I mean, it's a poverty franchise that gets no fan support. What they've done, squeezed every dollar out of that. I'm really surprised when it was all said and done that they ever even entertained the thought of signing that contract with Soler. Cause that was kind of like, coming out of their comfort zone. Right. But They've got a fun team to watch, and the main thing that they did that I think is key to this, same thing that the Rays have done for years, same thing the Brewers have done for years. If you've got restraints on your spending, you got to make sure that you build with young pitching, and then we'll figure out how to score down the road. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Hitting, we don't worry about that. We're going to worry about the other part of the inning when we're out there pitching and playing defense. And that's even with the curse. That's even with the MLB show, The Curse, because Jazz Chisholm's had a terrible year. And
yeah,
he was on the cover of the remember he came out and said he was going to win the Gold Glove in center field and all that junk?
That injury didn't help him out at all.
That's what I'm saying. The curse, man. The curse is real.
Yep. Whether it's Madden or the show, you get cursed one way or another.
I don't even know if there really is a curse, but it just seems like there is. Plus, I own the 2022 one that I normally put in, and Shohei Ohtani's on the front. He didn't get hurt last year, but I'm like, that cursed bastard.
He was an angel. That was the curse.
Yeah. It was a year late, but it would have been fitting if they would have put Aaron Judge on the cover.
Sharpie out 2022, right in 2023. It's all the same.
I heard a quote from Garrett Cole, and we'll jump back to football. This is a funny quote. They asked him after his last start. I think he'll probably win the Cy Young American League, but they asked him, what could the Yankees have done? What could y'all have done different to be able to make the playoffs? And he said to make sure that Dodger Stadium is a lot safer for the right fielders. That broken toe, man. That was, God, seriously, Dodger Stadium. It's 2023, man. Can we get some padding out there?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's dive into it. Steven, it is your turn. What is your stupid underdog?
All right. So what has been taken so far? Just want to make sure I'm not doubling up.
Yeah, still a lot of meat out there. You got Tones took the Louisiana Cajuns. Joey took the Colorado Dions. Trosh has not picked. What the hell? That was Doug. I wrote it in the wrong spot. Doug took South Carolina, and Bobby took the Arizona Cardinals. So you got whatever you want. I decided to pick last to give everyone a. I might go first next week or something, but whatever.
Yeah, you go first next week. But all right, so I'm going to go with the safer pick of the two I'm going between. I'm going to go with Arkansas over A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Weigman's out this week for A&M. They got Max Johnson starting, and I just don't think that they're going to have the offense to keep up with KJ Jefferson and company.
I like that a lot.
Okay, so that is 6.5 points. All right, so I've been on the fence with this one. I can't believe neither one was taken, but maybe that just means that I'm incredibly wrong on both sides. There are two games that I looked at that I really, really, and ironically, they both start at 3:30. One was Nebraska at home against Michigan. And I typically would go with that because they're at home. And I usually like to grab the home dog with the big number.
Mm.
But we're going to revisit 2 years ago where Kansas goes into Texas. Give me the Jayhawks. And the main reason why I like this game, not that I doubt how good Texas is. I think Texas is a very good team.
Mm.
But do y'all know who Texas plays next week?
I'm guessing someone big.
It's the look-ahead game. It's the Red River rivalry.
Mm.
And though they did lose to Kansas a couple of years ago, and they'll be reminded of that, they kind of got their vengeance last year. They beat Kansas in Kansas. God, I think it was like 55-16. It was something outrageous. It was one of those ones where people are like, man, Kansas might get them again. And by halftime, you're like, all right, that was a fun idea, but I lost that money. I think Kansas they probably don't pull off the upset, but I give them a fighting chance. I think Kansas is a good team, not a great team. I think Texas is a great team that could be looking ahead. So let's go.
I don't mind that one. Kansas has been playing a good brand of football so far this year as well.
So Tony is saying hi. I would think no, the game's in Lexington. He's at home. There was a day and time where Tony would have been there, but babies change everything, don't they, Trosh?
I know O'Toole's at Miguel Cabrera's send off this weekend.
That's because his baby's like a full grown man now. His kid's like 18. He doesn't have to worry about if he's going to crap his. Well, I hope he doesn't have to worry about if he's going to crap his pants in public or whatever. O'Toole's son might be concerned if that Sean is going to crap his pants in public.
Oh man.
That's cool that he's going to go see Miggy. Honestly, if you would have asked me just out of the blue after about 6 beers, I would have sworn Miguel Cabrera had already retired, but
I was actually there in August at the Tigers Stadium. It's cool. They have all this Miguel Cabrera stuff. Really glad I got to see him play his technically not see him play, but I'm glad I got to see him in attendance.
Yeah, he actually hit his first home run of the year. I called it. It was against the Braves.
I was with you.
But he really, really, really milked that contract out. I mean, They're going to go. It's funny, though. There is an option for next year. I think what they're going to do is they're going to come to an agreement of how much does it take for you to walk away. Here's your money. Goodbye. For the love of God, please don't suck $31 million away from us one more year.
I know it was announced, I believe, that he's moving to their front office, actually. So that's kind of cool.
That means they're going to give him a phony title, doing phony stuff, and he'll be a good ambassador, is what it'll be.
The Bruce Arians role right now.
So what's my job today? Nothing. But 4 times this year, you got to go out and wave hi to the fans. That's your job. And don't end up on social media. Let's shut all your social media down. Don't do anything stupid. Let's just keep you very, very quiet, and every once in a while you'll show up. Game day at Duke is weird, man. I'm telling you, it's weird.
Basketball game day.
Yeah, it's weird.
Coach K is going to be out there soon. They brought him in
place.
I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money on that game tonight.
You think Duke is going to play that well, huh?
No, I think more so people are going to put money on Duke trying to catch. And I think Notre Dame's going to barely cover the spread, even though I told you that I would probably take Duke. I'm really staying away. I'm going to tease it one way or the other. I'm either going to take Notre Dame to win, or I'm going to take Duke at a much higher number. But people who didn't watch that first game when they beat Clemson, they didn't beat Clemson. Clemson beat themselves. They turned the ball over 3 times inside the 10.
They look terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they look like a first game of the season, sloppy as hell, and Clemson looked much better. I'll be honest with you. I was impressed by Clemson. I didn't think that it was going to – I thought it would be competitive, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think that Florida State was going to feel like that we got away with one getting out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson, to a man, we played that game 10 times last week on that particular day. Clemson wins that game at least 5 times, and probably 6 or 7. There were some things that happened in that game that went against Clemson. You just can't script. Scoop and score from midfield. Right? I mean, just, these are types of things. We weren't moving the ball. And I still, it comes down to, we're talking about Jordan Travis. He's hurt. He's hurt. He's always hurt. They're going to have time to get him healthy. But he, on plays where it's an RPO, and if he keeps the ball, there is 10 to 12 yards of free running in front of him. He's handing the ball off. And that he never did that before. He's doing that because of that. He got smoked in the Boston College game, fell on his shoulder, and he has not looked worth a damn since. And so they were just throwing 50-50 balls up.
Mm-hmm. And that kicker, their old kicker who retired, unretired, missed a 29-yarder. Clemson's that was just crazy game.
Well, you know what that comes down to. I mean, come on. If you're gonna hook your dreams to signing as an insurance agent off the street who is in New York ready to start, I mean, come on. It did feel like he was going to hit it. I was like, of course it is. Anything field goal related is going to screw Florida State. I want to outlaw field goals in all of football. They're the dumbest thing that exists. Field goals are stupid. You'll never make me believe otherwise. Since 1991. All right, so we got the stupid underdog picks in. We'll finish up our locks here in a little bit. But Tones, what is your lock?
I'm going to look into the world of the NFL for my lock, and I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers spread over the Texans. Last I checked, it was at 2.5. Not quite sure what it might have moved to at this given moment, but I will say this. Texans, cool, awesome. Texans are down 5 or 6 offensive linemen, whether they're starters or backups, and let's just say they got Mr. Watt coming to town. I could see Pittsburgh really buying into their postseason hype with the big win. I think everyone's high on the Texans since they beat Jacksonville, but I think Jacksonville just played a terrible game last week, and I expect the Steelers to not only cover but win by a good amount.
All right, so you got Pittsburgh -2.5. Joey has Baltimore. Doug has Vegas. And did I miss one?
No, I think that's it so far. I don't think Bobby or you gave yours yet, and then Trosh, obviously not yet either.
I see what I did. All right. I got it. All right. National Football League this weekend. The first one that I do want to touch on, I know it's not a big game per se, but it's a big game in this region. Jacksonville, Atlanta, the Sunday morning game. Ugh. If you're playing fantasy football, you got to set that crap today. You're going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
So the London games begin. And now it's nonstop with this crap. We'll have Thursday night games, Sunday morning games, blah, blah, blah. It's one of the reasons why I think I'm going to behave today, and I think I'm going to dive into the world of Bible study, as I call it, tomorrow morning. Because you've got 9:30 in the morning tomorrow until halftime of the Kansas City game. You're going to have pretty competitive football.
5 minutes into the Kansas, once Rodgers and Swift leave together, that's it.
I do feel like a sneaky play is going to be to take those Jets in the points because it doesn't make sense. You would think, oh, Swifty's going to be there. They're going to run the score up. Da-da-da-da-da. This reeks of a game that's not going to make any sense, and you're going to be sitting there in the fourth quarter and goes, why in the hell is it 12-8 and Kansas City has got the ball, but they're driving and they're trailing? It won't make any sense, but it seems like at least once a year the Chiefs lay a dud out there.
You
do wonder week one.
What's that?
They already did that in week one.
Yeah, I don't count week one. I don't count weeks
Chelsea, yeah,
in the NFL anymore. Those are just basically non-conference warm-up games. But every time you think you got it figured out with the NFL, something else comes your way. And they beat the hell out of the Bears. Zach Wilson looked terrible. That line's inflated. I'm just saying buyer beware. I wouldn't dare take it as my lock, but buyer beware. As it smells, it stinks. It stinks. It reeks.
I was looking at that, debating, but yeah, I couldn't pull the trigger for whatever reason, as bad as Wilson has looked. Just didn't have it in me.
Will Aaron Rodgers be on the sideline as the guru? Will he be able to pull the strings? Probably not.
Moving into his Miguel Cabrera role.
Wouldn't that be something? He ends up on the sidelines and Zach Wilson throws for 350.
Kelsey better watch out. You got Zach Wilson, the mama hunter in town. He's going to be looking at that older lady, maybe get a little adrenaline rush. Maybe, he's a little older than he is. He might get a little excited and play well over there.
What, for Mama Kelsey?
Yeah, Wilson might take her off her feet by the game. You never know. You never know.
Are you talking about his mom, or are you talking about Taylor Swift?
I'm talking Swift's older than he is, so anything older than him.
You were saying.
You got to chain him up. Wilson could get after Taylor Swift. He might be the number one Swiftie when that game's done.
The fact that anyone consider Taylor Swift as an older woman, I can't be a part of that conversation.
I said Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson.
No, I know. I'm just saying I can't wrap my head around it, man. I have to remove myself from that conversation because I'm just like, she's still a kid to me. Like when I think of Taylor Swift, I know she's supposed to be in her 30s, but I swear to God, she's still like 19.
Yeah, I mean,
her music definitely is.
High school breakup music video round 2.
I've got a theory too. I don't think Taylor Swift fans want this to work out. I think they want it to crash and burn so that they get a new album out of it, right? Goes out and writes a bunch of heartbreak songs.
Mentions Jackson Mahomes doing something stupid.
Or just, more likely it'll be some kind of a breakup song, but there'll be some analogy in the world of football that she'll throw out there.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be on the nose, but it'll be like, we know where she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's a pretty day in Lexington. which doesn't really matter because we're probably going to get a ground and pound from both teams. But, Kentucky, Florida, the sunshine, it was beaming off the Gator helmet. All right. What do we got here? We're about to have to head to break. We already got your lock tones. What is your one big thing?
One big thing is it's a beautiful weekend of football, put a baseball in my rearview mirror for now, focusing on things. And we're one day closer to Penn State being a serious threat to the playoffs this year. I think they make a big win today and remain undefeated, and they're really gearing up for Ohio State, Michigan in a couple weeks. I'm excited to see what those three do eventually in a tale of a bloodbath. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Fun to watch so far, but it'll only get tougher for the three of them.
And Tones, I hope the charges get dropped because it looks like you're in some kind of an interrogation room. Like there's nothing behind you. I'm waiting to hear a door open and the light start shining. So where were you on the night of the?
I got about 73 seconds until that happens. So
I figure that you have like the solidarity of Chandler Jones and you're feeling his pain, so you figure you'll throw yourself in the interrogation room.
I'm actually with him and Antonio Brown right now, so we're about to have a couple fun moments here quickly.
So that's actually a rubber room. Okay, gotcha. All right.
That's why you haven't seen my hands. I can't move them right now.
All right, brother. We'll see you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into fantasy football, and we're going to give you our locks there on the way. Keep it locked in here on the Armchair Quarterback Tailgating Show every Saturday to noon. We've got a showdown in London of the Jaguars and the Falcons. So we're going to take you to somewhere over there across the pond. Normally you'd be talking about bangers and mash. This is a little different because you're going to be tailgating. It's going to be in the morning. So we did a little different thing. These are called just bangers and taters. We couldn't come up with a better name. So that's where we got to that. So anyways, bangers and taters. And keep your mind out of the gutter. Here we go. Okay, so you got the bangers. We put it on a hoagie bun. Very, very simple, right? We brown the onions. And what we're going to do there is we're going to put them over the bangers. Put a little salt and pepper. Then we're going to have the taters with them. And what I did was I cut the taters up, fried them off, just in oil, salt, and pepper, and garlic salt. Phenomenal. Next thing you got to do is you got to melt that cheese because you don't want that cheese all unmelted. So we're going to do that and then show you the finale. Okay, so you've got the bangers and taters. Put a little parsley on that. Probably going to add parsley at the end as well. You got your fried egg, which is seasoned. If you're serving this for folks, you might want to put a little parsley. Just give a little color to it. And there you have it. Jags versus the Falcons. 9:30 Sunday morning. So that's the hints. We put a little eggs in there, get you going here. Bangers and taters. Jags, Falcons. Let's get it.
Is work. You don't show up late, you don't make excuses, and you don't not work. If it wasn't work, they wouldn't call it work. They call it super wonderful, crazy fun time. Or skippity-doo.
It all starts with just one thing. Get to know your local beekeeper. You can make sure they don't use chemicals in the hive, that they only sell surplus honey, plus locally produced honeys have a smaller carbon footprint. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets. It's the impossible dream revisited. And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul. Off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
Left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions. As Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia. Welcome back. About that time for DFS time. Before we get into that real quick, Bobby, first you, then Steven. What is the game that you are most going to be targeting for DFS, expecting fireworks? Bobby, we'll start with you.
There's not a whole lot of them this week that I was looking for. I'm looking at Bengals pass catchers. I know they've been so-so this year, but you can still get them at a cheap price, especially against the Titans defense. I think the Bengals are going to win that one pretty handily. And I like the Vikings-Panthers game a little bit in terms of DFS. I don't think either of those teams are good, but I like it in terms of fantasy.
Steven, what say you?
So, I mean, the top game that I'm and probably everyone else is looking at this week is going to be Vegas against the Chargers. We've seen how bad both of those defenses are. It's in the Dome in Los Angeles. There's going to be offense there. The game that I'm actually targeting myself personally is the Rams at the Colts. It's an over-under 45. It's one of the higher on the slate, even though it's not that high. But Anthony Richardson's back. That offense has looked good. Matthew Stafford with Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua have looked fantastic. I think there's going to be a lot of points in that game.
All right, let me go ahead and get this thing squared up and shared up here in 1 second. Here we go. All right, so I can't even keep up with this. Whose turn is it to go first?
I went first last week, so not mine.
Yeah, I think it's me.
Okay. All right, so with that being said, let me pull this thing up and it should be big enough for everyone to see. Let me see if I can enlarge it just a little bit. Sometimes if you go too far, yep, there you go. All right. So that's as large as we can make it without losing the complete view. All right. Mr. Steven, where are we going? What are we stacking?
So my quarterback, I mean, I just kind of spoiled it right there. I'm going to go to the Indianapolis game, stick with the home team, Anthony Richardson. He's at 6,700. And I mean, I didn't believe it going into the season, but he's looked like the real deal so far. He's got the other rushing upside. He's got, I mean, look good enough as a passer so far. I think like he's just got so much upside. Just at that price. And so I've been going back and forth on who to pair him with. I mean, Michael Pittman's the obvious option. He's at 6,500. But I'm going to save a little bit of money just to kind of give us some flexibility this week. Give me Joshua Downs at 3,500.
Joshua Downs at 3,500.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. I am going to take the opposite side of that because I think this guy is going to have a monster game. And well, you know what? It's just going to be easier to just search him because I don't even know how much he's coming in for. I'm going to go with Puka.
67, I think.
Puka Nacua, 6,700. He should have a monster game against that secondary of the Indianapolis Colts. They've given up a lot of yards. All right. Mr. Bobby, where are you going?
I'm going to leave us some big money to spend at running back. I'm going to go with Tank Dell at 4,600 against the Steelers. Not a good cornerback room, and he's had 20 and 28 points in the last couple weeks. He has been exploding. He's been connecting with C.J. Stroud a lot. So at 4,600, I love the value there.
Yeah. Have you had an opportunity to actually watch a Texans game and watch him on the field, Bobby?
I haven't. I've tuned into a little bit whenever they come on the screen.
He explodes off the screen. I mean, he is like a different level of fast.
Yeah. And he has that connection with Stroud because on draft night, Stroud was pushing to get him. He's been playing great with him the last couple of weeks. I think that.
And he led all college football last year with the most touchdowns in the country.
Yep.
So,
Steven,
where are you going?
I'm spending big, but it ain't going to be a running back. There's nothing to spend big on there this week. Give me Keenan Allen, 7,900. I mean, he has been the wide receiver one this season, and he's still $1,000 less than Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. He's even below Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. I love the price on Keenan Allen this week.
All right, I'm going to take a cheaper running back. I mean, at this point, how do you not take Swift against Washington?
Trap.
Probably, but a bigger trap would be taking one of these others. Season long, you're starting Connor, but the problem is if you grab Connor and they fall behind, game script could actually take him out of the equation. So
James Conner?
Huh?
James Conner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am touching him with a mile-long pole.
He had a good game last week. I didn't think he would. He had a good game last week. I actually benched him in a season long. I think he got to start him, but in a DFS, I wouldn't mess with them because they're playing at San Francisco, they could fall behind by double digits, and then what happens?
Exactly.
Bobby, where are you going next?
How much money do we have left on average?
We got 14.9, average of 4,900. But remember, we still have a defense in there, so that's a little skewed.
And a tight end.
I'll grab our tight end. I wasn't huge on the options. This is a little bit of a budget pick here. But give me Freiermuth at 3,400 versus the Texans. He had a good week last week. Yeah, he finally got a little bit more involved in that offense. And I think he'll continue that against the Texans defense on Sunday.
Okay. So, Steven, where are we going? You got a defense, you got a running back.
I'll let you choose the running back. Defense this week, I like to save. Cheapest one that's really sticking out to me is the Browns at 2,800. I don't know if you've been seeing any of the highlights of the Ravens games, but their left tackle, I'm pretty sure Bobby could stop an NFL pass rusher better than he has. And he's got to face Myles Garrett this week in Cleveland. Yeah, I'm taking the Browns this week.
Okay, so that puts mercy. You know the guy I want to go with. I'm concerned what kind of game shape he's in. Alvin Kamara comes off the suspension, right? And that Tampa Bay defense was gashed.
Yeah.
It's 6,100, but it is his first game back. Do we trust that?
I don't. Okay, if Derek Carr was starting, and for sure, I probably would because he has a much better history of passing to the running backs. If it's Jameis starting, I think it's going to be the Thomas and Olave show.
Okay, so I will pivot, and let's go with Tony Pollard. I think this is a bounce-back game for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to go out there and roast New England. I think New England stinks, and Tony Pollard will be a big part of that. We still have 900, by the way, if we want to mess around and improve the team anywhere. 900 is a lot to leave on the bone.
Yeah. I'm not super high on Frymouth. I think he's a solid option, a good budget pick. But if we can get someone with that 900 better at tight end, we can do that.
See, what would we have? We would have 4,300 to play with at that point. You have Hunter Henry. You've got Higbee that would fit there. Komet, Njoku.
Higbee just got a big payday.
Everett.
I don't mind Higbee at tight end.
Higbee?
Yeah.
He has not been
effective this year. Is he okay? Achilles will play Friday. It looks like he's
he just signed a new contract too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to go with the contract guy. Contract guy gets the ball.
Hope so.
I was saying that for the opposite. Contract guy is not going to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times they want to prove why they gave the guy their money. Not to mention the fact it's probably not a bad idea that just to have many shares of that game as possible. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more of a matchup thing than anything.
We've got contract guy. We got bounce back guy with Pollard. We've got concussion guy with Richardson. We got no one with Swift. Name, but he's a badass guy in Puka Nacua. And we got. Is it still revenge when Baltimore comes to Cleveland, or is that like way too far back?
I haven't thought about that. I love my revenge narratives, and I haven't thought about it. So that should be your answer.
This is before Bobby's time. Bobby,
were you born back then?
Thing?
No.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, I still think it's dirty what the Colts did to Baltimore. So,
yeah,
stupid Mayflower trucks pulling away. Yeah. All right, so that is our lineup, and if you want to copy it, there. Let's see. Where is? There we go. It takes it a while for it to load. Went Richardson, Pollard, Swift, Dell, Downs, Nacua, Higbee, Allen, and the Cleveland Brownies. I like it. All right. Now, for the rest of the story, let's go ahead and get our locks in before we start jamming out of time. See, Bobby, Steven, what is your lock?
I mean, like the NFL lines have been kind of wonky today. I was looking at the Browns -2, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to pick the opposite side. I think what Joey already picked the Ravens, so I'm gonna I'll stay away from that game. I'm gonna go with the over under on the Chargers Raiders game. That's 48.5. I just gotta. I mean, there is no defense being played in that game.
Chargers Raiders over under. You said 48.5.
Yes.
All right, Bobby, what is your lock?
I'm going to go with another over-under. I know when two bad teams play against each other, it can cause some high-scoring games, but both of these offenses are dreadful. The Broncos and Bears game, the line's at 46.5. I'm going to take the under on that one.
You say 46.5?
Yep.
Does the loser of that game get relegated to the college football?
I'm down for that. I still don't think they make the playoffs even.
Yeah, but it can't be a Power 5 because they'll just get dominated.
Yeah.
I am going – now, we did not plan this. I just want everybody to understand this. We did not plan this, but I'm going to go with an over-under. I've had this thing circled all week long. I'm going heavy in on it. Personally, I think this number is just too high. I could be wrong, but I believe this number is way too high. 6 o'clock kickoff in Oxford. Mississippi is hosting LSU. LSU, though they do have some explosive pieces, I just feel like they know each other well. Ole Miss runs the ball a lot, which is going to affect the clock. 67.5. I get it. It's college football. That seems extremely high. Extremely high. So I'm taking the under on that 67.5. And I also have grabbed the halftime score, which is 31.5. I think it's going to start off incredibly slow. And that's what's going to build to why you're not going to get there. The only thing that would screw me is this thing goes to overtime. And then I'm like, it's over. It's 31-31 going in overtime. They're not going to win on a field goal. I'm done. It's screwed. I'm screwed. That's the one thing that would screw me in this whole thing. But anyways, okay. Now, game's about to kick off. Back to Florida, Kentucky. Steven, what's your take on this? What's the score?
24-20 Florida.
That's what I'm talking about.
20 what? I didn't hear you.
24-20.
Florida?
Yes.
Okay. Bobby took Florida to win. I took Kentucky to win. None of us have it as a blowout, which means we're about to see an absolute gut stomping on one side or the other. We're gonna be like, damn.
75-0 Kentucky.
I didn't even get my sandwich made. It's 38-0. What the hell? Go down here and grab some bigger games of the day. Big-ish, just because of the publicity. Southern Cal, Colorado. What's the score, Bobby?
I'm gonna pick Southern Cal to win. I'll say 49-14.
Steven, same game, over under 74. What you got?
It is in Colorado. I don't know. I mean, like my gut says the under, but no, I'm gonna go the over. I think the altitude gets to them, leads to some more points.
Next game looking at here, Texas, Kansas. Kansas getting 14. Man, that line is dropped. It's 14.5 now. It was 16.5. It was 16. Sorry, it's dropped. It's moved back up to 50. Anyways, we'll go with 15. It's bouncing back and forth. People are panicking. Bobby, what's the score? Does Texas cover that spread?
I don't think Texas covers. I think Kansas gets a backdoor cover. I do think it's right at about 14 points that Texas wins by. So it's not a close game by any means, but I give Kansas. I give them cover.
Steven, the over-under in that game is 60.5. Over or under?
I'm going to go under.
Next game on the docket. Games of interest. Man, has Stanford fallen off the planet or not? I mean, they're 27.5 point underdogs at home.
So who?
That's unbelievable. Let me get to the next one. Here we go. Notre Dame Duke. This is a fun one. 5.5 points is now the line. Steven, are you taking Duke or are you taking Notre Dame on the 5.5?
Notre Dame. Duke is not. No, Notre Dame should have won that game last week against Ohio State. I think they're clearly the better team.
Yeah.
Bobby, over under is 52.5. You taking the over or the under?
I'll take the under on that one. I think Notre Dame's going to go in there and win. I think they're going to shut Duke down. I think Duke, they deserve that number next to their name, but that week 1 win against Clemson was a little bit fluky. I think Notre Dame's the better team. I don't think they're going to let much by them.
Revenge game, Tennessee giving up 11.5 to South Carolina, but it is a revenge game. And South Carolina's defense is ranked 119th against the pass. Joe Milton will hit. This be his coming out party. Bobby, does South Carolina cover that spread in Knoxville on the revenge game after putting 66 on the board on the Volunteers last year?
I was prepared to pick them as my stupid underdog, so yes, I'm going to pick South Carolina to cover. I don't think they'll be able to go in there and get a win, but Tennessee has no confidence in Joe Milton. That passing game is nothing. It's just nothing but screens. I don't think they're going to be able to blow out South Carolina with an offense like that, so I'll take South Carolina to cover.
Steven, same game. Over under is 60.
I'm going to go over there.
Here's who gives a crap except maybe you can win some money game. Pittsburgh with losing records at Virginia Tech with a losing record. Pittsburgh is giving 2.5 points on the road. Steven, ACC guy.
Ugh, that's giving me heartburn even thinking about that game. If I had to pick, I'm going to go Pittsburgh, even though it's in Virginia.
Is Miami on a bye?
Yes.
Okay. I hadn't seen them all. I didn't know if they were playing like Bethune-Cookman or something. They'd taken it off the board or whatever. Couple more games here in college, and we'll jump over to the NFL. Let me see here. Here is an interesting one. Texas A&M, Arkansas. I'm staying away from this. I really don't know what to make of this. I feel like Arkansas on the points at home is a good bet, 6.5, but I'm really staying away from it. Bobby, SEC guy, what you got?
I'm staying away from this one as well, just because I can see Texas A&M getting out of there with a touchdown win and barely covering. But if I had to make a pick, I'm going to take Arkansas to cover. Like you said, they're at home. I don't think Texas A&M is that good. They played well against Auburn last week, but Auburn's also not that good. So I'll take Arkansas to cover.
All right, head on over to the National Football League. And early game, Jags, Falcons, London. Jacksonville's giving up 3. Steven, where are you at on this one?
I mean, the Jaguars should win. They are the better team, but I mean, they've looked pretty bad recently. I believe last year was the London game for Atlanta was the breakout game for Kyle Pitts. So, I mean, maybe the going overseas will kind of jumpstart that offense. I think Jacksonville covers, but it's going to be a closer game than people expect.
Bobby, you had Arizona at the 49ers. It's a 2-touchdown game. Now, here's my question. The over-under is 43.5. Where are you leaning on this one?
I'll go with the over. The Cardinals' offense is not bad. It's dull because, we have Josh Dobbs, a quarterback, not a ton of weapons, but they've been doing well. They've been hanging in their games. I think the 49ers are going to put up points. Not saying the Cardinals' defense is bad or anything. It's not great, but they've been playing really well. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a game where both teams are scoring in the 20s. I think 49ers get out of there with a 28-21 win. So I think it'll go over.
All right. Steven, Kansas City and the Jets, Sunday Night Football. 8.5-point favorite. Are you giving up that 8.5?
Oh, it's Chiefs should win by 30. I mean, that's it. I know I get what you're saying about it being a trap game. Like the line is just a really wonky line. But yeah, I think KC ends up covering. It's just not that I think that Kansas City is that much of a powerhouse. It's just Zach Wilson is that bad.
Monday Night Football, Bobby. Seattle is a 1-point favorite at New York. The over-under is 47. You more likely to take the winner or you take the over-under?
I'd be more likely to take the winner. I'd be willing to take the Giants. I'll go with the dogs on this one. I think they're gonna win at home on Monday Night Football. I know they've started the season pretty rough, and their only win was a comeback win against the Cardinals. So not a great start to the season, but I think they get on track with a win against the Seahawks here.
It's a really, really strange thing that Seattle is favored in New York. It feels like a trap, man. It feels like they're trying to trick me.
It does, but the Giants have not been playing good. So,
yeah, I get that. I just, honest engine, I think Daniel Jones has a coming out party in this game. I really like the over in that game.
Okay.
47.
Yeah, if I had to pick on the over or over under, I would take the over.
So here's the thing: most people are thinking of the Giants' defense from last year. It has been so bad this year. Mm-hmm. They're not getting pressure on the quarterback at all.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Seahawks have reinvented the Legion of Boom.
No.
One more apiece, and then back to our one big things. Here we go. This is Steven's favorite game of the day. Denver versus Chicago. No, I'm joking. The Dolphins are getting 3 in Buffalo. They're going to cover that spread. They're going to get the W in Orchard Park.
I mean, they pulled it off last year. I mean, it's one of those games. Like, from what we've seen so far, I think Miami is the better team. it scares the crap out of me going into Buffalo. I don't think I'm not putting any money on it. If I did, I'd probably put Miami to cover, Buffalo to win.
And Bobby, Bengals, Titans, Cincinnati, 2.5-point favorites. Who you got in Nashville?
The Bengals haven't looked good at all, so it's hard to put a whole lot of confidence into them. But also the Titans aren't very good themselves. I think the Bengals are going to have their way with that secondary in Tennessee.
We'll see your crappy effort and raise you one.
Yeah. I do think, though, talent-wise, the Bengals have the Titans outmatched. And Tannehill sucks, so I'm going to take the Bengals to cover.
All right. About that time for walk-off. Steven, what is the one big thing that's going to happen this weekend?
One of these, like we got a few of those top 25 matchups today. One of the higher ranked teams is going to fall. We're going to see some movement today.
Bobby, what's your one big thing?
So the Bears and Panthers are both 0-3. They're also taking 0-3 teams. I think they both lose tomorrow, making themselves the only 0-4 teams in the league. And the Bears have both of their first-round picks. That could be huge. They could be in position after this week to have pick 1 and 2, which is something the Cardinals thought they would be. But here we are. The Bears could be 1 and 2 as it stands right now.
My one big thing, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Texas is going down, baby. We'll see you next week. Have a great one, y'all. Good luck to your Marlins, Steven.
Thank you.